The most famous part of Floyd Mayweather's game is his shoulder roll, a style sometimes called the crab, stonewall or Philly shell. A catch and pitch style of boxing, the focus is on deflecting, evading or even parrying right hands with the lead shoulder, and countering with right hands of one's own. The more willing an opponent is to throw their right hand with force, the more likely they are to be stood still for the counter. With the lead arm low and folded across the body, and the right hand high to catch or parry the opponent's left, the stonewall strategically denies the opponent the majority of legal targets, inviting a predictable right hand to the head. It is not unusual to see Floyd Mayweather stand right in front of a flurrying opponent and take blows only on the arms and gloves. Of course, no guard can cover the entire torso. Some Mayweather opponents have tried to needle him with the body jab, in hopes of bringing his right hand down to parry and diverting his attention. Others have attempted to sneak in a kidney punch behind his left elbow. Canelo Alvarez also began shooting straight rights directly into Mayweather's arm, in hopes of deadening it. When an orthodox fighter and southpaw fighter meet, the stonewall is less effective as a means of all-around defense. The right hand cannot catch and palm long rear-handed punches in the same way that it can short lead-handed ones. It still has its uses, but against southpaws the shoulder roll becomes a less important part of Mayweather's game. In a southpaw versus orthodox matchup, neither man's lead shoulder obstructs the opponent's power hand. While Mayweather's stonewall becomes less of a catch-all defense, his right-hand lead becomes a more versatile weapon. Like Roy Jones Jr., Mayweather has always enjoyed surprising the opponent by leading with the right hand rather than the more predictable jab. By squaring his hips and getting onto the ball of his back foot before throwing the punch, his right hand carries less momentum than a traditional straight, but sneaks through much faster. Traditional anti-southpaw tactics focus on getting the lead foot outside of the opponent's and shooting a straight down the centre, stepping away from their power hand. Mayweather will more often throw his right hand lead and step or weave out towards his opponent's power side, anticipating the return. The side of the opponent's rear hand is also termed the open side, because the opponent's lead shoulder and back cannot shield him from strikes from this angle, and Mayweather only has to contend with their rear glove. Mayweather will often jab his foot to the inside of the opponents, spring past them onto an angle on the open side, and blast them with a right straight as they are forced to turn. This technique is not without dangers though. Most of Mayweather's southpaw opponents have clattered him with a counter right hook at some point while he attempts this setup. With slight adjustments, Mayweather's favourite counter left hook can still be hazardous to southpaws. He will attempt to throw it in the wake of his opponent's jab if they reach for him. Each time Manny Pacquiao stepped in to begin his combination punching, Mayweather was able to pivot behind his check hook and escape off the ropes. One of Mayweather's greatest abilities is his understanding of the grey areas of boxing. Mayweather's ringcraft is among the best you will see. Rarely cornered except on his own terms, Mayweather's direction changes, fakes and escapes just add to the problems that opponents will have in simply trying to get him to stand still to be hit. Against southpaws, he will constantly duck deep towards the open side and pivot around them or come up into the clinch. If Mayweather doesn't like where he is in the ring, he will simply duck into a clinch when the opponent opens up to throw punches. Mayweather also uses the clinch on offense in what is called punch and clutch. When he throws a right hand lead or a lead left hook, he will crash straight into the clinch and prevent the opponent from retaliating. Hyper-aggressive opponents like Ricky Hatton just play into this punch and clutch tactic. A variation on this tactic is to push the opponent away after crashing into them. Small shoves like this make Giorgio Petrosian almost untouchable in the kickboxing world. But Mayweather is also adept at denying clinches, be it by a forearm across the face, head placement, or projection of the lead elbow. If an opponent ducks in low, in the style that Mayweather often does, Mayweather never misses an opportunity to drop his weight on the back of their neck and force them to carry him. From here he will sometimes use the Lomachenko and Archie Moore favourite of passing his opponent's head under his armpit in order to angle out and line up a right hand. If there is one theme to Floyd Mayweather's style, it is that he will engage when he wants to, refuse to engage on his opponent's terms, and tie up whenever he feels even slightly uncomfortable. It is this cautious, crafty philosophy that has carried him past world champions of every shape and style.